Hello and welcome into the JAXUSL Report along with Mauricio Ruiz. I'm Cole Pepper. We've got a lot to get into today, including a couple of retirements from two of the best to ever pull on a U.S. women's national team shirt. But let's start closer to home with what happened here recently. Of course, we also want to remind you always to get your season ticket deposits in. Just go to JAXUSL.com, click the button, and you can get your tickets reserved for the launch of the JAXUSL men's and women's teams. It'll be coming very, very soon. All right, let's start first this weekend, Mauricio. The River City Rumble returned to Jacksonville with JU and UNF. Another great experience for soccer fans in our area.
Yeah, if you enjoy soccer at a high level, we have great Division I programs here, Division II with Flagler University, Flagler College. But when you get UNF versus JU, and really in all sports, but in soccer, you kind of just have that enthusiasm, that energy. And the game was at JU at Southern Oak Stadium, where you're just literally on the field. JU started off really good first half. They're all over. UNF was coming off of a road trip from NC State midweek. So they started a little bit slow, but that game second half got heated. Chances on both directions. UNF went forward with Luke Granitor, a transfer from UNC Chapel Hill, good player, and JU got the equalizer at the end of the game. So all is the same, a 1-1 River City Rumble, but JU probably deserving of at least a point on the game. But it's just always heated. It's always exciting when those two schools line up against each other.
Well, that wasn't the only soccer action this weekend. On Sunday, before the Jaguars took on the Houston Texans, we won't get into the game too much there, but there was a great opportunity for youth soccer. We've been talking about it for several weeks, and Mauricio, you were there to see this great opportunity there in the flex field for some young soccer players to get some great instruction.
Yeah, great turnout too. We got over 150 kids, boys and girls from ages of 5 to 13. The JU soccer players off of the River City Rumble the night before came out, volunteered their time to work with the kids, and it's just great to see when the community comes together and to join forces to give back to a game, whether it's football or soccer, but be able to see over 150 kids play soccer inside a beautiful flex field facility. Thanks to the Jaguars, great partners in this event for us. Something that we plan on doing year in, year out, maybe multiple times as we go forward. But just a great event from 10 to 11 to be able to join the two footballs that we love.
Yeah, a lot of smiles out there, that's for sure. All right, let's pivot now and talk about the two big retirements in the U.S. women's national team realm here this past week. Two of the most influential players over the last decade plus calling it quits for the U.S. national team, and that is Julie Ertz and Megan Rapinoe. And who better to talk about this than Becky Burleigh, the national championship winning coach at the University of Florida. And we'll bring Becky in here. Becky, let's talk about these one at a time, and let's start with Julie Ertz, who had her retirement game. Give some reflection on what you think Julie Ertz has meant to the U.S. women's national team and her tenure with the crest on her chest.
Wow, like she is such a valuable player, and I think you saw that in this World Cup. Not only her ability to play multiple positions, where she filled in at center back, but more just the quality that she brings in terms of that grit. And she's dangerous on set pieces. She disrupts other teams. She just brings that American mentality to life in the way that she plays, and I think that's a hard player to find because she's a tremendous talent. She can create, but she's a disruptor. And when you find a player that can do both of those equally as well, that's a hard player to replace.
And Becky, how do you replace someone that's had such a magnitude and a position of leadership when in an era of where women's soccer were at its highest?
Well, she was just so mobile too. She covered so much ground. So, it could be a tactical change where you've got to play a different system that allows two people to do the role that she did and maybe hybrid a little bit. But at the same time, we have players in our country like that. I think we just have to value both sides of the ball. And it's tough because, as a country, we have certainly evolved our soccer, and everyone is rewarded at this point for creation, for being creative. And I think there's still a very, very big place in our game at the international highest levels for those that can disrupt and create.
Of course, the other retirement, Megan Rapinoe, who has been the focal point for the U.S. women's national team really for the last two cycles in the World Cup. She calls it quits, and both on and off the pitch, her impact, Becky, just cannot be understated.
Wow, that's just a complete career. I have to say, the the very illuminating moment for me in her career was that ball that she served into Abby Wambach for the header against Brazil. Like that's just an iconic moment in historic U.S. national team things. And I think what that says about her, just speaking about her specifically on the field, is like her delivery of the ball, whether it's on set pieces or whether it's in the run of play, is again like it's almost like she was a true specialist in that area. And it's something that it's hard to find. That's really, really hard to find because when you look at every level, men's World Cup soccer at the highest level, you still see that delivery is something that has room for improvement. And here we have this player who's leaving now, this big gap, to be somebody who's not to be afraid to say, hey, I'm going to make my living delivering the best balls possible. And you look where that took her in terms of her career is pretty amazing.
Any way to replace her and her playmaking ability?
Well, that's going to be an interesting one because when you look at the forwards, I think that was a little bit of the problem for the World Cup this year was that a lot of those forwards that we have want to cut in. They want to be the 1v1 players as opposed to the person who delivers a quality service. And so again, it's like, what do we reward? How do we find people that are willing to play that role? And I don't know that there's one person that I know of that I can pinpoint that can deliver like she can. I definitely think it'll be something that we'll know that we miss when we don't have it anymore.
Becky, thanks so much. All right, now let's turn to Mauricio's corner and get into the USL Championship and what we saw this past week. Getting right down to it, 2, 3, 4 matches left, depending on what team you are, to get to the postseason. And Mauricio, take a look at these scores. A couple of them really jump out at you for sure. San Antonio going 4-0 there. Detroit knocking off Hartford 3-0. Hartford's had a rough go of it so far. What other scores really speak to you after this weekend's play?
Well, if you look at Tampa Bay versus Memphis, a 2-4 defeat to Memphis. Memphis, a team that is fighting for that 4th and 5th position into the playoffs, but really against a Tampa Bay team that's been about as strong as anybody in the league. So to go down 4-2 against Memphis, it's a big one. But then you look at Colorado Switchbacks against Sacramento. Sac is already already committed the position to the playoffs, but for Colorado to win, and they're fighting for standings as well, that's a big win for them.
All right, let's take a closer look at the standings as they are right now. In the Western Conference, boy, those results over the weekend, San Antonio is now crept within a point of Sacramento Republic. Both those teams already clinched a playoff spot, but then you've got San Diego Loyal, Phoenix Rising, Orange County, all on 47 points. They're really fighting, those 3 teams, for 2 spots to have a home first-round match. So these last couple of matches are going to be huge for those teams.
Well, Cole, there's really about three different tournaments happening within that bracket, right? You have the top Sac Republic and San Antonio still fighting for that 1st and 2nd place there. And as you mentioned, you have 3rd through 5th, and then you have it there at the bottom, 7th through 10th. Toros actually won. They beat Indy 11 this weekend. They kind of put themselves a little bit into the conversation. Still far-fetched for them, but you got about 4 teams into that position to try to make it into the playoffs. And playoff position is important, but the top 4 trying to get that first-round home game is crucial.
All right, let's look at the East now. And similarly, you've got a lot of little mini battles going on here. At the top, you've got Charleston creeping to within 4 points of Pittsburgh. Those are the 2 teams that have both gone 4 wins and a draw in their last 5. It has been a race, and neither team is letting up at all there. But with that win, Charleston goes past Tampa Bay, now on a 2-point edge. So you've got Tampa Bay, then you've got Memphis and Louisville who have already clinched. And I think it's more intriguing right now, right on that 8 line. You've got a team with Birmingham at 40, Detroit City 37, Tulsa 36, Miami FC still around at 35. All those teams trying to secure their spot in the postseason.
Yeah, and don't look now, right? Miami securing a good win this weekend, and if they can get on a roll, we talked about momentum as you're going into the playoffs. 3 to 4 games left for everybody at the table. Birmingham not getting those, they're not rolling. They win some, they lose some. They're a really inconsistent team. But Detroit City and Miami getting some good results this weekend. Maybe it propels them going into towards the end of the season.
Let's take a closer look at our game of the week now, presented by Got Sport, and this was a good one. Charleston Battery playing at home against FC Tulsa. You see the final 2-1, and this was a game that really highlighted, Mauricio, one of the great young players in the USL Championship.
Oh, Cole, if there's probably a more exciting player in the league, Fidel Barra, a Mexican international, but with allegiances and ties to the U.S. as well. I think there's going to be that battle between where does he say he played U17, CONCACAF, qualifying Mexico to the World Cup. But he's an exciting player, as we're going to see. But the contrast of these two teams as well, Battery, a really difficult team to play against, especially at home. They don't give up a whole lot inside their box. And Tulsa a team that wants to walk you inside the goal. They're not really trying to get in behind too much. So you're going to see right away, early in the game, Battery there in yellow and gold, a big ball from the keeper. It's a quick little deflection, just poor defending from the left back here for Tulsa. And here's what we talked about. Fidel Barra, 17-year-old Mexican international, just gets on his left foot, poor defending, allowing him to get his left foot. But what a quality goal here.
Well, that one had some skill with that. Take another look. There is some poor defending here, but this finish is top class.
Yeah, I don't want to undermine the finishing here with poor defending. This is top class. You see the keeper was just blinded with there, and that is not his best goal, not yet.
Yeah, we'll have a little more there coming up, but there were some chances for Charleston.
Yeah, Dotson there. See a deep line midfielder coming through in the box. Just finishing is not his thing, but gives a good effort. And here's where you get Tulsa. Just not a whole lot in the first half. Just shots from distance, really what they get out of Battery.
Yeah, half chance at best there, and a little later in the half, another chance for Charleston.
Yeah, Augie Williams is a really good power forward. He's a great link-up play, but his finishing has been a little bit suspect this year. He gets tons of chances in front of the goal, but not too much to show for it.
And then you mentioned another opportunity. Look at this finish by Barajas. That is impossible to stop from that angle.
Yeah, you think his first goal was a highlight on its own, but look at this. Poor clearance once again. First set sets him up. I mean, you see the keeper. When the keeper pauses like that, it's just nice and sweet. He knows there's nothing he can do about it. Probably a goal of his life. Once again, 17 years old, just putting on a show in this league.
So, as the second half opened, Tulsa trying to find opportunities from distance.
Yeah, they get a quarter kick here off of a couple shots from distance. That's kind of the best that they got throughout the night, just shots from distance. Battery just really difficult. They're really stingy inside the box. This is probably the only time that Tulsa actually kind of got him behind. See the forward here, the ball just drift a little bit outside of his hips, makes a good save for the keeper, but no one falling up inside the box for Tulsa for a rebound.
And taking a look at it here, beautiful through ball to set this up, but as you mentioned, first touch let him down just a bit.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of opportunities that Tulsa actually got him behind. And just another opportunity here. See, so look at the numbers of the Battery, just how quickly they recover and they collapse just to kind of hold their 2-0 lead. But shots from distance, if you give team enough opportunities, and you see there, Eric Bird, a beautiful shot. First touch, it sets him up nice and well, and the ball kind of curves away from the keeper. He thought he had a chance, and the last minute he just kind of gets away from him.
Great angle on it there. More chances for Charleston in the final minutes.
Yeah, and we just talk about Augie Williams. Did a great job with his first touch. Let the defender run through him. Just can't put these chances away. Probably one of the best forwards in the league, Cole, but just not converting enough of his chances, which may pay off in the playoff, as you need your forwards scoring a lot of goals.
And we'll keep a close eye on what Charleston does. They've been one of the teams to beat all year long, and we'll take a closer look at the playoff chase coming up next week. Be sure again to subscribe here to our YouTube channel and keep following us on JAXUSL.com. For Mauricio Ruiz, for Becky Burleigh, I'm Cole Pepper. Thanks for watching the JAXUSL Report.